It's really hot outside. It has got a heat index of 104. You know what that means? We should make a Sweet Vermouth Slush. Welcome to Dan's Bar. Today, that's what we're making. We are making a Sweet Vermouth Slush to help combat the ridiculous heat that is going outside. And that is the heat index, not the actual temperature. It's actually 85-ish, but because it's also 85 with 100% humidity-ish, it's just gross. Really gross. So we're making a slush. This is going to be a multi-part. So the first one we're going to do is put everything together, and then we're going to freeze it, and then we're going to serve it later, slushy in a glass with some more liquor poured on top. So let's go ahead and get started, get it freezing, and then we'll be able to enjoy it later as we cool down from the ridiculousness that is the outside right now. So to get started, we are going to go and put 10 ounces of orange juice, 8 ounces of vermouth, 4 ounces of simple syrup, 2 ounces of an orange liqueur, and 2 ounces of water. Putting all that into a nice little 9x9-ish pan. Freeze that, get it all nice and slushy. Because it's got the alcohol content, it's not going to totally freeze, so you're going to be able to have these kind of like crystalline granules. That's going to go into a cup which already has that sweetness and flavor put in. Add some bourbon, tequila, rum, whatever you want on top of that. That's going to be your completion of the drink once you have that slush started. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started putting everything together so we can go in the freezer. We're going to start off with, well, we'll do 2 ounces of water to start off because it can clear some more space off and more room for activities, which I already made that joke. Apologies to my sister who didn't get it. So 2 ounces of water. This recipe is actually suggested by my sister, so thank you for that. I was going to say that this is a vial of very highly, it's used in a lot of cleaning things. It's a dangerous substance. It'll take off a lot of things. It'll, a lot of people die from consumption of it if they breathe it in. It's water. Hydrogen monoxide. There's all sorts of websites out there dedicated to all this fun jokes you can make about that being a deadly substance. Random side note, water being ridiculous is the reason that life exists, because water is one of the only things that expands in its frozen state, which means that when it does freeze, it floats to the surface of the oceans. All the liquid water underneath is insulated by that. Life continues to grow, whereas if water was like most substances and was a more dense solid than it is in liquid form, it would sink to the bottom, the oceans would freeze from the bottom up, resulting in all life being exterminated and life not being possible. Among many other reasons that water is awesome, it's also good in cocktails. So, we have our 2 ounces of water. We're going to put in 2 ounces of an orange liqueur. In this case, I'm using a Cointreau because it's what I have on hand, giving it a nice, tasty orange flavor as well. So we'll put 2 ounces of that, and this, we're obviously also putting in some orange juice to go with the sweetness of the vermouth. So lots of different summery, warm, refreshing flavors that are going into this. So we got 2 ounces of our that. We're now going to put in 4 ounces of the simple syrup. Now this is a Demerara sugar simple syrup. These are super handy little vials. This is a 4-ounce vial. I also have 2-ounce vials. Incidentally, these make perfect cocktail containers. If you're ever going somewhere and want to bring a cocktail with you, miniature bottle, pre-mixed cocktail, 4 ounces, perfect for a drink. So in addition to that, it also means I don't have to measure the 4 ounces because this is 4 ounces of a simple syrup. This is going to be a 1-to-1 simple syrup, so not one that's too concentrated, but it's going to give us all that sugar, which is also going to help prevent it from totally freezing in the freezer and to contribute to that crystalline structure. So we got 4 ounces simple syrup. We're now going to do 8 ounces of our vermouth. And because 8 ounces measured in a shot glass would take forever, we're using a real measuring thing. So we're doing 8 ounces of a nice sweet vermouth. Now this is a light one rather than a dark one because it's what I had, but I think it'll also be nice because it's not going to have any of the dark, heavy notes that some of the red vermouths and the darker vermouths can have. It's going to be nice, light, keep things airy for a good summer slushy cocktail. So we have got 8 ounces of our vermouth, and I'm using this as a mixing vessel just because it's pretty, and it's here, why not? And finally we're going to finish with 10 ounces of our orange juice. So we'll go ahead and not stir this because, as usual, I want to minimize the amount of pulp that's going in here, and that's going to be about 10 ounces there. Now I'll enjoy my extra chunky orange juice later. So this is really just pulp-free, freshly squeezed orange juice that I think will be just delicious, that I'm only spilling some of. And I really hope will fit. Almost will fit. We'll mix the rest in the pan. That's all good. So we'll go ahead and give this a nice stir so that we have everything combined. I measured beforehand with the big thing, and it was going to be close. I knew it was going to be close, but I figured, you know what? It's a lot easier to mix in this vessel than it is in the pie tin, so I just went with that. All right, so now that we got those together in there, let's go ahead and bring in our pan, pour everything in, and get it freezing. So I'm carefully gonna pour this all into here. Oh, this pours nicely. Wow, I did not think this one was gonna pour so well. That's a nice little happy surprise. Incidentally, I did go to the grocery store about a week ago and my freezer is very, very full. I was able to find room for this, but it was tight. It's a very, very, very full freezer. All good stuff, but... Alright, so we have our whole solution here with our vermouth and orange juice and orange liqueur and everything mixed nicely together. We're gonna let this freeze for at least 3 or 4 hours, start mixing it up, let it freeze for another 3 or 4 hours until you get this really nice crystalline slush. Then we're gonna be able to put that into a cup with that liquor and finish our drink then. I will see you in a couple hours. Alrighty, our slushie has had time to freeze and it is looking slushy. So it's been a couple hours. I've used a fork to kind of fluff it up every hour or two. Because it's a full fridge, it froze really quickly, which is awesome. So now it has all these nice little granule things that look like it's really gonna mix nicely and create a great little slushy cocktail. So I'm gonna put these into a container, and then we'll be able to put that into a cup and have our delightful cocktail right after this. So, let's put it in a container. Alright, so after going through what was clearly the most efficient possible way of putting things into another container, I now have slushie in 2 that are now in the freezer and 1 that is ready to go in our next cocktail. So what I'm going to do is I have this nicely chilled glass, and I'm going to go ahead and pour in all my slushy goodness, about 6-ish ounces, not measuring just because I know roughly what this container is going to take, and it's going to be the majority of it, so that's actually about perfect. The whole amount that I made usually I think is going to do 4 or 5 drinks, so a good amount. It's not just one, clearly, given how much was in it. And then I also have this whistle pig that I put in the freezer so it doesn't immediately melt the drink. So I have nice chilled whiskey that we're going to then combine in to make our final cocktail. Hopefully my freezing will succeed. Yes, it did not melt all that slushy goodness and it is still nice and slushy-y. And I also have been sampling it as it's been freezing and it's tasted awesome. So, with whiskey, I hope it'll be even better. Oh, that's good. It's nice and sweet, which for a hot day is great. If you don't like things quite as sweet, obviously take down the simple syrup a bit, but that is great for a summer day. It's cold, it's refreshing, it's got that slushy factor, it's got the sweetness factor, it's got the fruity factor, and it's got some cold whiskey in it, which, let's be honest, you can't go wrong with. Yeah, well, give it a try and let me know what you think. I hope this has been enjoyable and you've learned things and you've tried new cocktails you haven't tried earlier. So yeah, I guess at this point, until we drink again, cheers.